Love it. Hello, everybody. It's Jeff and Kim from FEWL here for the Wednesday webinar. A little bit of a different time today, but listen, if you need to check out or step into this discussion another time, you can find us on all of our recordings on the webinar page of our website, FEWL.io. That said, as always, an action-packed 20-minute discussion. We're going to talk today about women and testosterone and what testosterone really means for women. Unfortunately, testosterone is considered the man hormone. We talked a lot about it last week for men. That is so not true. There's a lot. It's critical for women's health. So I'm not going to do much talking past this. I'm going to pass it over to Kim because she's more gender appropriate. But as always, we're going to do about 20 minutes on the discussion. We'll cover what are the symptoms of high or low testosterone in women. And we'll talk about why that happens. We'll also talk about what to do about it. And of course, we'll wrap all of that up with an amazing giveaway, which will be a surprise. And I'm going to tell you, it's a fantastic giveaway of one of our amazing products. But we'll speak about that a little bit later on. So without further ado, thank you for joining us, everybody. And Kim, why don't you take it away with testosterone and women?
Thank you, Jeff. So we talked a lot last week about testosterone and the importance of testosterone in men. And I don't think a lot of women understand the importance of testosterone in our own bodies. We make a whole lot less of it than men make. What is it, like 8 to 10 times more testosterone in men than women? So it's a lot more in men, but it's a significantly important hormone in women. And the balance of testosterone along with other hormones plays a role, a crucial role in our hormonal well-being throughout life. And testosterone, not just for hormonal well-being,
Hormonal well-being.
So many other things too. Emotions and motivation are driven by testosterone. Healthy blood and healthy bones are an important component of healthy testosterone. Skin and hair, fertility, libido, confidence and energy. A lot of women suffer from depression, anxiety, low confidence, low motivation, and they have no idea that it's often simply just low testosterone. So really important hormone for women. And if your testosterone levels are off, either too high or too low, you are likely not feeling great. And we want to help you feel great. So if testosterone is one of the issues that you're having, reach out to us. We'd love to support you in getting that back into balance. Let's first talk about high testosterone, Jeff. High testosterone in women, some similarities with high testosterone in men. You can have too much, as a man, too much DHT, which is a metabolite of testosterone, which can actually be a problem for prostate cancer. So men need it in the right balance as well. But high testosterone in women can cause weight gain, especially that belly fat that we all dislike so much.
That
right?
thicker around the middle. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And actually in your blog you wrote about testosterone, high testosterone in women having a lot to do with insulin.
That's so true. Just as a sidebar, man.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. As a sidebar, insulin resistance. So your body makes insulin in order to absorb the blood sugars from the food we eat. And if you gain weight, for example, you gain more fat tissue. Well, fat tissue actually creates its own metabolic profile. And one of the things that it will do, the more fat tissue you get, is it creates resistance to insulin. And of course, insulin resistance is related to testosterone, as Kim is saying. Bottom line, the outcome is something pretty undesirable, which is you get pretty thick right here around the middle. And it gets harder and harder to lose weight, more plateaus, and as you said, everything from mood changes to all the rest of it with imbalanced testosterone.
Right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, besides being overweight and having a hard time losing weight, another symptom of high testosterone can be depression, anxiety, anger, frustration. And this has a lot to do with cortisol. As we get stressed out and our cortisol can increase, it can affect a woman's testosterone levels, and that can then decrease her serotonin levels, and then your mood is just wacky. So you're going to see this pattern here of testosterone is important in relation to other hormones as well. So we're going to continue to talk about that. Facial hair, not fun for women. Thicker body hair all over, thinning hair on the top, and thicker hair in other places, and hair loss, actually. Acne, Not fun either, and women with higher testosterone levels can tend towards having more acne, not just on the face, but on the body as well. Irregular menstrual cycles and infertility. One of the things that I see a lot, we see in our clients is, especially younger women, is PCOS. And this is associated with insulin resistance and estrogen dominance. So PCOS is...
PCOS, polycystic ovarian cancer, for those of you.
Ovarian syndrome.
Sorry, ovarian syndrome, thank
Yes.
you.
Which anytime we see someone with PCOS, I'm automatically looking at diet, insulin, and other hormones as well, like estrogen dominance. So again, all of these hormones work together in concert. And when one is off, another one can be off. So some of these symptoms can be symptoms of other things as well. But high testosterone can be very uncomfortable and very dangerous actually for a woman's health. So it's really important to think about not just if your testosterone is high, but the real question is why. Why is your testosterone high? And we're actually going to talk about why shortly.
Exactly. It's like 95%. If you have high testosterone, 95% of the reason is it's something else going on.
It's not likely that your body is just overproducing testosterone. There's something in the way causing a problem with the balance of testosterone being produced in your body. So I'll talk about that. But first, let's talk about what low testosterone in women feels like. This part is really a bummer for many women. No libido at all, like nothing, gone. And that's a bummer not only for women, but for their spouses as well, right?
It's not just a low libido, it's also an inability to have an orgasm.
Yeah, total lack of ability to, or decreased sensation. To the point of actually not ever being able to achieve orgasm.
Right. You may well and absolutely care immensely and find your partner incredibly attractive, but if it's just not working, that's a sure sign of low testosterone.
Exactly. Can't lose weight, especially around the middle, so similar to high testosterone. But with this, it's a lot related to muscle, the ability to gain and retain muscle, because testosterone is so important in building muscle and maintaining muscle that for women with low testosterone, it can be very difficult, even if you're working out, to gain or maintain any muscle. And muscle has a lot to do with how well you burn your calories and utilize energy. So for a lot of us that have low testosterone, we are gaining fat for a different reason, but we are gaining fat around the middle often. And you might just feel really flabby. Even if you're not overweight, you feel really flabby and usually unattractive because you don't have the muscle tone that you want. You're tired all the time. I hear about this a lot. We often just jump to, it must be our adrenals, it must be thyroid. Often it's not. Often it's a testosterone issue that's causing this lack of energy, this fatigue. And like I said earlier, lack of motivation. It's really an important hormone to have the drive and the motivation you want to get up every day. And
part of that is actually affecting the quality of your blood, your red blood cell quality. So often in the past especially, and even today, there's a legacy of what a lot of medical professionals might look at, and the lay consumer too. But you know, if you're thinking that you're iron, or you've been told you're lower in iron or whatever else because of this energy in your blood, well, actually, it's possible, but it is also very possible that your testosterone is low, and that's affecting all of that in a cascade.
Right, which can then lead to symptoms of depression as well. Depression and anxiety are a common theme for women that have lower testosterone levels. One thing you wrote about in your blog, which I think is so interesting, is women that have a weak grip. We talked about this a little bit with muscle tone, right? You low testosterone can mean lack of muscle, low muscle tone, but it's also important for your bones. So if a woman has a weak grip, it could be really literally muscle and bone health that are affected because of low testosterone.
Mm-hmm, indeed. This whole thing about osteoporosis and you're supposed to take lots of calcium, yeah, that's so 1980s. The reality is there's more going on, and a big part of it is related to testosterone.
Yeah. We should do a blog on that sometime.
Yeah, let's do that.
The calcium myth, right?
Yeah.
So obviously not too cool at all if your testosterone is too high or too low. When it comes to hormones, we want the Goldilocks effect, right? We want it to be just right. Your just right might be a little different than somebody else's just right, but we want to look at normal levels being, actually I'd like to say optimal levels instead of just normal levels. So when we look at what normal is, there's quite a wide range. So your optimal might be on this side, it might be on this side, but working to get to your Goldilocks effect, to just right in all of your hormones, you're going to feel great. You're going to age, because we all do, but you're going to feel great as you age, and you're going to have low risk for lots of disorders that kill many of us, right? So it's really important to get to the point where you're in that just right range, that sweet spot. So why does testosterone get high or low?
Probably the biggest reason is the standard American diet, SAD, or essentially your diet and your lifestyle. And there's a number of reasons for that. I don't know how much detail you want to go into that, though.
Well, we can briefly just touch on the fact that the standard American diet is very inflammatory.
Oh, yes, right? Absolutely.
Inflammation disrupts a lot of hormonal and chemical pathways in the body and causes disease.
It's also incredibly toxic.
Right.
We can't avoid it. We've talked a lot about toxicity in our blogs and stuff, but we're around these toxins all the time, which are now, we call them endocrine disruptors, or environmentally, I can't remember what that is. ECDs.
Yeah.
Whatever. Chemicals all around us, and they mess up our hormones.
Right.
And they will mess up your testosterone too.
Often testosterone is disrupted from prescription medications and some over-the-counter medications as well. Can be very disruptive to your hormone levels and your gut, which affects your hormones.
Absolutely. Positively, for sure. Yeah.
Stress. Stress can be one of the main reasons why we see a disruption in hormones, and especially a hormone like testosterone. Too much stress, typically, is very disruptive to cortisol, as we've talked about in the past, and all of these hormones work in conjunction. So if your stress levels are through the roof, then your testosterone can be off.
Remind me, is it true if your cortisol is up, your testosterone tends to be, is it related directly?
It can disrupt, it disrupts testosterone drastically, yeah.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
One thing I'm so impressed with as we learn more and more about these things, we, meaning the medical profession, is exercise. And it's not just the amount of exercise, which a lot of people had thought about, but the quality or the kind, especially the kind of exercise, will affect your testosterone. And again, it rolls back to if you're doing weight or strength training kinds of activities, as opposed to cardio, you're going to see a different outcome in your testosterone, usually much more favorable.
Right, and so that's why we really advocate for understanding your stress levels, what your cortisol levels are, because that could really be affecting how you should work out. You know, your personal regimen could be disrupting your hormones even further by working out too much or doing the wrong kind of activity. So always look at that. In addition to, there's a possibility of a genetic factor, but we always talk about epigenetics being way more important than genetics, right?
Epigenetics, as a reminder, literally we all have genetics, but how you express those genes, it's like a switch literally on the wall. You can turn off an expression, or you can turn on or turn off an expression. It's literally what you do on a daily basis. As an example, if you just breathe quietly for a few minutes every day, you will turn on or turn off the expression of more than 3,000 genes from that one act. If you miss meals consistently, that will turn on or turn off, etc., etc. So that's what epigenetics is. Sure, we all have genetics, but how do you want to turn them on or turn them off and express either a healthy or a less healthy person?
So when we look at why testosterone is disrupted, diet, nutrition, inflammation, toxicity, gut health, for those of you who follow us, that sounds really familiar, right?
Yeah, right.
That's what we call root causes. Things that disrupt your health, that are the root cause of your illness, your injury, your dis-ease, is where we want to go. We want to target what is at the root instead of just thinking about what the symptoms are, because the symptoms can be from a variety of different issues. We want to look a little deeper and go into what was this disrupting factor that caused the symptoms. So that's what we do at FEWL every day, is we're always looking at thinking, why? Why is this person having this symptom? And follow it down to the possible root cause, because when we touch on the root cause, then we're really in charge of making change, like real permanent change.
Absolutely. 100%. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, that was it. So that's why we talk about the Dutch test so much, because the Dutch test is a hormone test that really allows us to understand your hormones and the pathways that you tend towards with those hormones and the metabolites, and the ratio of all of those hormones together gives us a really good idea of what's going on in your body and can point us to some possible root causes. So you can Google herbs. If you think you have high testosterone or low testosterone based on your symptoms, you can certainly Google herbs for testosterone or what to do for high testosterone or low testosterone. You're going to get some great information. But we think it's better to first know what your levels are, what particularly is happening in your body specifically, so that we can make a really good decision on what step to take to balance your hormone and your particular hormone patterns that are going on in your body. So looking at the big picture is really important.
Indeed, absolutely. Do you want to carry on with where age is and how testosterone might change with age?
Oh, let's talk about that. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah,
Actually, I was really anxious to talk a little bit about low testosterone in women, in perimenopausal women, menopausal and postmenopausal women, because so many of our clients are dealing with this stage of life. And here's the thing, many women, healthy women, can go through this transition of life really comfortably and not have many uncomfortable symptoms at all, feel great. But yet so many women suffered greatly with this transition. And why is it so hard for some of us and yet so easy for many other people? Female hormones are really, really complicated. Men are so much simpler, right? Men have testosterone levels and other hormone levels that naturally rise at puberty. You naturally have a spike, in your 20s and 30s, and then it starts to come down a little bit. But actually, we talked last week, Jeff, about the what we believe is kind of a myth that men naturally lose testosterone as they age. Remember that? We talked
Absolutely.
about that last week, right?
Yep. Although on that note, too, over the last 20 years, the last 2 decades, all men, boys included, in the U.S. anyway, and I'm going to say U.S., Canada, Canada, U.S., it's pretty similar, are really losing testosterone. All of us, all of our testosterones are going down, and a big reason for that, we believe, is, again, the standard American diet, but in particular, the amount of chemical load that we're surrounded by all the time. And again, those are considered endocrine, meaning these hormone disruptors. They mess it all up. So it's kind of like, even if we have a good diet, even if we do a lot of great things, men and women, there are some environmental things that are happening that we need not just to be aware of, but there are things that we can do and do effectively to sort of remove that variable and get our hormones back on track, particularly testosterone.
Right, because when we look at studies that show that healthy men have really nice high levels of testosterone, and so it's probably not that as we age testosterone lowers. It's more likely that as things disrupt our health and we get sick, then the testosterone starts going down, right? So I argue that it's the same with women, that as women age, we shouldn't just expect to see a drastic decline in testosterone and estrogen and progesterone and just blame it on menopause or on age. I know in my practice and in other practitioners that I talk with, there are plenty of women out there that are able to maintain really nice levels of estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone through menopause and beyond. And of course, those women are vibrant and very healthy. Women are so different in their cycles. Men have, puberty and increase and then decline, and if they're healthy, they're going to maintain this nice level of hormones. Women have crazy different disruptions in their hormones, different cycles of the month for their monthly cycle, but we have puberty, then we have our fertility years where we might be pregnant numerous times, and then we're breastfeeding, and then we're not pregnant, and then we're pregnant again, and then we go through the transition of menopause. So for women, it's entire life cycles of change, daily, monthly, weekly cycles of change. So we're much more sensitive to the daily, weekly, hourly fluctuations of our hormones, and we're really, really sensitive for sure to some of those hormone disruptors. And so I argue again that it's more likely the lifestyle that we're living these days, it's causing the disruption of these hormones. So it is commonly thought that testosterone in women drop with age. And I'd like to say that if we look at the things that are really disrupting hormone balance from our standard American diet and from our lifestyle, our civilized lifestyle, that really we can see, we can reverse this problem. We can maintain really, really healthy levels of testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone throughout the perimenopausal and menopausal years, and go into our older years with lots of vitality and great sex drive.
That's brilliant. Love it.
So let me just recap again. I think this is so important. What we need to work on to maintain healthy levels of testosterone and all hormone levels and just health in general. Diet, nutrition, managing inflammation in the body, toxicity, dealing with the fact that there are toxins everywhere in our environment, and being proactive to manage the level that we get exposed to and manage the level that we can't help that does get into our body. Making sure all of our other hormones are staying in balance, managing stress, exercising just enough, not too much of the wrong kind of exercise, and then our daily patterns and habits. When we talk about epigenetics, it really is so much in our control. The way that your hormones are acting in your body has a lot to do with your daily activities, and you are in charge of those daily activities.
Indeed, absolutely. Shall I wrap it up with the specifics of what to do?
I think so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let me grab our giveaway. So there's a few things. There's lots of things you can do, but let's summarize what you can do right now to even before you test your hormones. And again, just a reminder, Dutch test on our website. We love it. Tells you everything that, or tells us and you what we need to know. But even before you test your hormones, you can do some of our FEWL assessments online at FEWL.io. There's the body toxicity assessment. Find out just how toxic you are and how susceptible you might be. There are men and women's hormone tests. There are other assessments. If you can't find them, and because not everything is listed on the website, just send us a note or book a free strategy session with us. There's the big button, just click it, and we'll connect for a half hour and go through all of these things with you. So that's probably a great first painless step right there. Find out where you're at. Let's get a baseline. The other thing is getting outside. Get outside in the morning. And whether or not it's sunny or not, you're still going to be exposed to sunlight because it comes through the cloud. That's really important for a couple of reasons, particularly around vitamin D. We consider vitamin D a hormone because it does so many things as opposed to calling it a vitamin. That is so 1920s. So instead, let's get with the real century that we're actually in and call it what it is. It's more of a hormone in terms of how it acts with everything that we do. The other thing would be getting outside for a walk. Simply being outside in the environment. It doesn't have to be super strenuous exercise, but just getting outside for a 20-minute walk is going to reduce your cortisol immensely because we are bipedal, meaning we walk on 2 feet, mammals, and we have an interaction with outside that is inexplicable but measurable and noticeable. And what that is, getting outside changes your hormones in the best possible ways. The other thing that I'm reading my cheat sheet here because I don't want to forget anything, is to start some kind of a weight or strength training activity. Again, it's so old school. Many of you already know this. To be thinking simply of cardio, you got to build some muscle or at least do things to maintain the muscle that you have. That's going to fix your hormones and much, much more rapidly than cardio. And cardio is often considered inflammatory as well. Don't be a sumo wrestler. Read the blog on sumo syndrome, but if you are skipping meals or if you're eating it at regular times, you are doing exactly what the ancient sumo wrestlers did in Japan as a secret way of gaining weight. That messes up how you use your food and your calories, and it's going to mess up your hormones and create more insulin resistance and more fat tissue end. The other one, and we love this one, the melatonin and our sleep Facebook. Please check it out. It was in February. If you're sleeping at irregular times, you are completely changing the rhythm of your melatonin. And where melatonin goes, cortisol goes in the opposite. And cortisol, as we learned from Kim today, totally changes your testosterone. So you can see these are all woven together. But all the things that we're speaking about help unwind and create the right rhythm that you want in the right place. 2 more things. One more thing. I already mentioned the environmental of the body toxicity assessment. And the last, Well, I also mentioned this, book a free strategy session. Did I miss anything?
I think that covers it.
Yeah,
I think we got it.
indeed. Absolutely. Well, listen, it's that time of the show where we open it up for any questions and answers. So please post a question here on the Facebook Live. It should show up on our screen, and if it doesn't, for whatever reason, well, we'll catch it when we log off, and we'll answer your question that way. But for those of you who ask, first person to ask a question gets this wonderful, wonderful supplement. This is our liquid vitamin D3. There's enough in here to keep you going for a couple of months at what we recommend is a dose, a minimum of 5,000 IU, but literally you could probably take 20, 30,000 IU plus over a couple of months. That's how much is in here. So good value for a total with shipping. Would have been about $20, but we're going to send it to you for free. And why? Well, because we're talking about hormones, and as well, vitamin D3 is one of what we consider a core supplement. Doesn't matter what your health is. Everybody, every day. If you're living in North America, you cannot escape the North American, everything in the environment and all the rest of it. So you probably should be taking a vitamin D supplement. It's definitely not going to hurt you, but it will definitely help you along the way in so many other ways. So please ask a question or two.
Not seen any questions come up yet, so let's pick a person and send the product.
Yes, we could do that.
Let's pick someone who's watching.
How about number 4?
All right.
Would that be to one of our Seattle clients?
No, I don't think so. I think she's a Denver person.
Okay. You know her.
I know her, yeah, I know who that is. All right, well, I will reach out to the person that we picked to send this to and let them know that they're getting their free bottle of FEWL's D3.
Wonderful. And we'll announce who that is. Well, do you want to just tell me who it is?
Kimberly.
Okay, Kimberly. Another Kimberly.
Yeah. Yep,
All right.
2 Kimberlys.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. And as always, we're so pleased that you folks tune in, that you send questions, and that you connect with us almost anywhere, almost any time, via text, phone, sometimes by video. We love to answer your questions and help you get to wherever it is that you want to get to. So we very much appreciate your support. Love that you put your trust in us. Love even more that you're getting where you want to go. And very much appreciate the referrals that you keep sending our way. So, as always, thank you for your support and for those continued referrals. It's pretty much most of our business is coming from referrals, or has come from referrals. And we just love spreading the word and getting people to good places. So thank you.
Thank you. Next week we'll be back. Next Wednesday,
yes.
regular time.
Right. I'm not sure what's the topic
I
for
can't
next
remember.
week.
But we'll be back next week for sure.
So do check in. Again, this is recorded on the webinar page on the website. Hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks.